Hi everybody and welcome to another episode with the Anxious Resistance. Today I'm talking about something called Kava. Now, Kava is a plant native to many Pacific islands. In Tongan, the word Kava translates to bitter. This is because of the plant's bitter taste. Its roots are ground up and steeped in water or coconut milk to create a beverage. It has some mild psychoactive effects and can create anxiolysis, which means it eliminates anxiety and a sense of euphoria. It may also produce an anesthetic-like effect and treat pain. It is available to buy for drink preparations. It can also be bought in capsule form. The best effect is achieved by using the traditional Pacific Islander methods to prepare the drink. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the history of Kava. Kava has historically been an important part of the Pacific Island cultures for many centuries, with rituals often attending its consumption. Its main use has been used to create a relaxed state in ceremonial attendees by creating a numbing effect in the mouth followed by anxiolytic and muscle relaxant effects. A state of sleep can then be induced. Typically, no hangover effects are experienced. The Kava drink has been used to represent respect and hospitality for visiting authorities. Research about Kava was initiated in the 19th century. Kava was used as a diuretic for gonorrhea as well as for nervous disorders. It is one of the top-selling plant and botanical products in the United States. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how Kava works. The mechanism of action for Kava is not completely and not well understood. The primary active constituents in Kava resin include cavalactones, chalcones, flavonones, and conjugated diene ketones. So it is theorized that the mechanisms include enhancing ligand binding activity at GABA receptors. It also has reversible inhibition of monoamine oxidase. So many of you may know, but monoamine oxidase inhibitors are a class of antidepressant medication. Now, they're not used very often because there's a lot of serious side effects, especially food interactions that occur with those. But in this case, you are inhibiting monoamine oxidase B. This increases the amount of monoamines in the synaptic cleft so that it effectively increases your serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Okay, so it also reduces the uptake of norepinephrine and dopamine. So overall, this can increase a lot of the dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine in the synaptic cleft, which is what antidepressants do. So any one of these mechanisms could contribute to the effectiveness of Kava as an anxiolytic. What exactly is the evidence for the use here? Many people actually go out and drink Kava. There are things like Kava bars. I live in a place where there are quite a few Pacific Islanders in the area, so there's a few Kava bars and things that they go to and they can have this Kava. So there's the kind of anecdotal, subjective evidence that it works because they go and they drink this for these reasons. But again, I've also compiled some studies here for you to read about its effectiveness. Now, article number 1 concludes, while current evidence supports Kava for generalized anxiety, more studies are required to assess comparative efficacy and safety versus established pharmaceutical comparators. So it's just saying it works, but does it work better than what we already have? We don't know. And again, if you want to read the full articles and see the full sources in this video, check out the full article linked in the description down below. Okay, now the second article that I found concludes that compared with placebo, Kava extract appears to be an effective symptomatic treatment option for anxiety. The data available from the reviewed studies suggest that Kava is relatively safe for short-term treatment. In this case, they define the short-term treatment as 1 to 24 weeks. So that's 1 week up to about 6 months. Although more information is required, further rigorous investigations, particularly into the long-term safety profile of Kava, are warranted. And again, I've said this in previous videos, they tend to say that at the end of most research articles just because it's a way of covering their butt a little bit, saying, hey, this is what we found, but maybe not, you know, just in case somebody decides to like bank their whole life on this article. So anyway, some good evidence there. Now, article number 3, this concludes that a meta-analysis has no publication bias, no remarkable heterogeneity, and is based on trials with high methodological standards. It is concluded that WS 1490, which is the code they used, and possibly other kava extracts are effective. Therefore, they remain alternatives to benzodiazepines, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and other antidepressants in the treatment of non-psychotic anxiety disorders. So again, some strong evidence there claiming that it's as good as some of the current treatments that we have, at least in the short term. Okay, now article number 4 concludes that sleep disturbances associated with non-psychotic anxiety disorders can be effectively and safely treated with kava extract. So again, some good evidence there. Article number 5 concludes that aqueous kava preparation produced significant anxiolytic and antidepressant activity and raised no safety concerns at the dose and duration studied. Kava appears equally effective in cases where anxiety is accompanied by depression. This should encourage further study and consideration of globally reintroducing aqueous rootstock extracts of kava for the management of anxiety. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the side effects or maybe adverse reactions that you could have from kava, because it is not free of side effects. Side effects of kava consumption may include oral anesthetic effects, so have a numbing of the mouth, the tongue, that kind of thing. It can also produce sedation, euphoria, tremors, and ataxia, which is the loss of full control of your bodily movements. Visual impairments has also been described. There was a significant increase in libido in female patients receiving kava during generalized anxiety disorder studies. So that's a side effect, but it may also be a benefit, especially if you're on other antidepressants that are lowering your libido. It may help increase that libido. So in a lot of circumstances, that may be a good thing. Okay, back to it. Heavy consumption of kava can produce a scaly skin rash like pellagra. It is commonly known as kava dermopathy. It can develop on the palms of the hands, bottoms of the feet, and back. Urinary retention is also a side effect, worsening of Parkinson's disease, extrapyramidal effects, severe rhabdomyolysis, which is the breakdown of muscle tissue. It's often noticed by you have a dark urine that usually has lots of like blood and other proteins in it. That comes from rhabdomyolysis. There's gastrointestinal discomfort has been reported. Kava should be used cautiously in patients with renal or liver disease, blood disorders, Parkinson's disease, or depression. Now, a lot of that sounds bleak, and you have to take in perspective that some people take a lot of kava or drink a lot of kava, and it kind of leads to serious complications. I think if you're smart, you start low, you dose it low, you drink some, see how you feel, and kind of gauge some effects that you have from it. You can avoid a lot of those side effects. So it does sound scary, but I kind of say this before, but just don't be stupid with it. Be smart, start low, go slow, see how it works for you. Okay, so what are some positive or pros of kava? Kava is effective for short-term anxiety. Kava is readily available both as a drink and as a supplement. It is cheap. It does not require prescription. It can be found pre-prepared at bars and at clubs. Can increase concentration. So some good effects from kava if you use it smart. So negatives or cons of kava. Kava is not a long-term solution. Overuse can lead to kava dermopathy, which I talked about before, that rash. It must be prepared correctly, so from my understanding, it's pretty hard to get kava right. So you probably, if you want to try it, go to like a kava bar or something where they're used to preparing it, and they can make it correctly for you. Again, capsule forms may not work. You probably need it prepared the correct way in order for this to work. Now, if you're having a really anxious day or something, maybe more situational, maybe you can go to a kava bar, find some relaxation, drink some kava, go home, sleep good, feel a little bit better the next day. Now, that's just one kind of suggestion of how to maybe use this to treat your anxiety. So again, kava may be good for the occasional anxious episode, but may not be a viable long-term solution. Current data indicates that kava is not addictive. Kava has a fair amount of side effects and should be used with caution. Again, Start low, go slow. It has been well established as an effective treatment for anxiety and temporary mood boost. Although this substance is cheap, it may be difficult to find quality kava. Kava is probably best used when prepared in the traditional way at kava bars or clubs. Kava use is legal in the United States and has few restrictions. As with all supplements, use common sense and inform yourself and your doctor before use of any of these kind of substances. So overall, kava could be a good option for some short-term anxiety. Again, you want to try it at those places where they prepare it best and see how it works for you. Now, kava is not something that I have ever tried personally. Again, maybe it is something that I might want to try on, if I have a really anxious day, I might go give this a go. But again, educate yourselves, do some more research, check out those articles that I've linked. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this episode with the Anxious Resistance. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more content just like this about mental health. And thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for your support.